Hello everybody, this is Pervin and I welcome you to the App DNA channel where we talk about all things apps. Today's app is a distributor management app. What is a distributor management app? A distributor management app takes care of the entire process of procuring your goods from the suppliers and then moving it to the warehouses. So this entire process will be taken care of this app that we are going to build today with our low-code platform Zoho Creator. What is Zoho Creator? Zoho Creator is a new-age low-code builder where we use a drag-and-drop interface. We drag elements, we drop them, we write a little bit of code, workflows, and an app is built for us quickly. It is used to deploy quick apps by both developers and non-developers alike. And today's video is aimed mainly to the non-developer crowd who will see how easy it is to make apps with Creator. Our App DNA videos are structured in such a way that you learn to make apps in 5 easy steps. For a distributor management app, I have decided that these 5 features are going to be. The first feature is that since our distributor is going to deal with warehouses and suppliers, we are going to learn how to build forms in Creator where we can add our suppliers and warehouses. Second, we are going to create another form where we are going to add all the products that are available to our distributor. Third feature is that once we have bought these products, we are going to create a purchase order form. In the fourth feature, we are going to learn how to update the stock details once a purchase order is created. And in the fifth feature, we are going to learn how to create reports for our entire system. Without any delay, let's log into creator.zoho.com where we will be creating our first feature, and that is adding our warehouses and suppliers. Welcome to creator.zoho.com where we will be building our distributor management app. I have an option to create a new application, or if I have been using spreadsheets to maintain my suppliers and warehouses, I can simply import those files and an app will be created for me. I'll go for new application, and this will take us to our app deck where we have more than 50 pre-made applications built by our developers, which you can go on to customize according to your needs. And we landed in our app deck. So these are the 50 pre-made applications which you can install and customize right away. And one of these apps is our distributor management app, which I will install at the end of this tutorial. For now, we will create our app from scratch and I'll name it as Distributor Management 2018. And this is our workspace where we will be creating our first form. So click on Create New Form. I would like to create my form from blank and I'll name my first form as Add Supplier. So remember, I had told you how we are going to procure the goods from the supplier. So I'll name this as Add Supplier. Hit create, and this is our form builder that we were talking about. It is very crucial to low-code platforms, and these are the data elements that I'm going to drag and drop and build my first form. So for my supplier, I want to know their name. So I'll use the single line field here and drag and drop it. I'll rename it as supplier name. Next, I want to know their email. So I'll use the email field here. Next, I want to uniquely identify each supplier with a code. For this, I'll use the single line field again here. Then you might want to know their phone number. So use the phone number field and then their address. So with this, our supplier form is done. I hit done here and then I go to access this application here. This will take me to the live mode of the app. So the difference between the edit mode is that we are building the app in the edit mode, whereas in the live mode, we see our app running. So this is our first supplier form. You see how we have this add supplier here, and all suppliers is the report that gets automatically generated each time we add a record in Creator. So let's name our first supplier. Our supplier is, let's say, India Office Tech. Supplier code is 100A. You can fill the phone, you can click the address, and this one you can do by punching it out more easier. You can search for an address, let's say Chennai, and then you just pinpoint an address and hit done, and you add the details. Now when you go to your all suppliers, this would be recorded in the report already. So you find here India Office Tech, and since this is on cloud, all of the data gets synced no matter where you input it from, your devices, your mobile, and all sorts of stuff. So now I go back to my edit mode and create my next form, which was to add my warehouse. This you can do by going to this plus icon here, create a form, and this would be done exactly create the supplier form. Add warehouse. So I'll do this form quickly because I need almost the same details as I wanted in my supplier and in the name, code, email, and address. So let's do it. Hit done, and now I'll go to the live mode, and this is my warehouse. So let's name our first warehouse. And hit add. So when you go to add warehouses, you find a New York main warehouse is listed here, and every time you want to edit it, you can just click on it and go and edit the form and update it. So our forms in Creator is done, and now we will move on to the next feature. Now that we have seen how easy form building is with Creator, I'm going to create the next form where we are going to add the products that our distributor is going to deal with. Now that we are done with our warehouses and suppliers, we are going to create another form to capture the products that our distributor is going to deal with. So we will create the product form the same way, only that later we are going to also create a product catalog using a Kanban report. So in my product form, I want to know the product code, the product name. Next, I'm going to use a field called the drop down, and this one would be to know which category my product comes under. Category drop down, and let's say the choices is furniture, office supplies, and technology. So you can customize these fields as much as you want. And then you also click on this allow other choices, so that while filling the form we have the option to allow other categories. So my category is done, and now I'm going to use the currency field here to know the product price. Next, I want to know the threshold value, which is the minimum quantity that needs to be maintained for this product. So I'll go and use the number field here for my threshold value. Next up, you can use a product image. And for a product description, we can use the multi-line field here. So my product form is also done here. So I go to the live mode and fill my first product. Let's say the product code is something. Product name is. Category it comes under is office supplies. The product price is $100. The threshold value is 10. I can have a product image and add. So now when I go to all products, you can check that my lumber crayons is right here in this report, and I'll show you how to create a product catalog. So I go back to edit my application, and to create my product catalog, I will add a new report. What kind of report would you like to make? So I want to make a Kanban report. My products will be listed neatly according to the category. So based on the form product, group columns by category, and I'll name my report as product catalog. Hit create, and now when I go to the live mode of the app, I will see that my product catalog looks very neat. For my office supplies, I have this column. For my tech, I have this. For my furniture, I have this. So as I add making more products, my report will look pretty clean. So this is how I make the product. In the third feature, we are going to create a purchase order form through which the distributor is going to purchase these products from the supplier. Now that we have created our suppliers, our warehouses, we have our products. What happens when our distributor goes on to purchase these products from the suppliers and store them in the warehouses? For this, we will create a new form, and this one will be our purchase order form. Now in a purchase order, first I need to know which supplier is providing this purchase. For this, I'm going to use a special field called the lookup, which is used to relate two forms with each other so that we can access the data residing in another form for this form. So we use lookup. It asks me which form I want to look up to. I want to know my supplier, add supplier, the supplier name, and I hit done. And I can rename it as select the supplier. Now that I know which supplier is giving me the products, I want to know the purchase invoice number. For this, I'll use the single line field. Next up, we can use our file upload feature for our invoice copy so that the distributor can upload the invoice copy. Then we can have our purchase date. And then we need to know which warehouse this product will be stored in. So again, we are using our lookup form, and this one will look up to our add warehouse. And now we will list down the product and the quantity in which the product is being purchased. So for this we will use the subform, which essentially is a form inside a form. So let's see how subform works. I want a blank subform. I'll name it as list items. You have not created any fields here, so I'll add a field. I'll use a lookup to my product. So this subform essentially works like a form, only that we can use data fields inside a form. So add product, product name. Next, I want to know the quantity in which we are going to purchase this product. So I'll use number. Next up, I'll use the price. Then we are going to calculate the subtotal of this product quantity. And our subform is done, and next we will use data fields which will calculate the price of these products subform. So I'll have a the currency for my purchase amount. I don't need the header for this section. I'll rename it as. Next up, I want to know the shipping and handling charges. So again, the currency. Then we have our tax percentage. Next up, I'm going to calculate the tax amount. And finally, I'm going to have my total amount. Now, all of this would be calculated in our Deluge workflows later on once I have built the form. And I can rename this section. So this is our purchase order form. Let's see if our supplier lookup is working. Yes, it is working. Let's see if our warehouse is working. Yes. Now in our list item subform, when I add new and I select a product name and let's say I hit quantity 5, our price is not populating nor is our subtotal. So we will go back to edit our application now so that the price gets populated, the tax amount and the total amount and all the calculations are done. So let's do that. Go to edit this application, add a new workflow from this plus sign. Here, workflows, when you want to trigger your workflow while using the form purchase order, run when a record is created, and I'll name the workflow as. So here we add a new action, and the first action that I want should happen on user input in our list items. So the moment when I select a product, this can be done through our Deluge field actions. Here on user input, so select the field I want that on user input of product name, this Deluge script should run. And what will be the script? So this is our workflow builder. Just like our form builder, we can drag and drop these Deluge tasks over here, which will make coding much easier. Deluge tasks are nothing but abstracted blocks of code that make coding simpler for you. So I'm going to use the if else statement here. So if my variable product name, so when we want to call a particular row in a subform, we type it as, I'll cancel it because I want to, row dot product name is not equal to null. So if my product name field is not empty, then what happens is I want to use this fetch records here. I don't want this form builder here. I want to write directly. So if my product name is not null, then the variable, let's say the variable name is product details. So this variable product details will go to my form add product. It will check for all the records. And in Creator, we identify records uniquely through our ID. So if the ID of a particular product matches the ID of what I have input in the product name, which I'll know with row.product name, then this variable will be pushed to our price. Row.price equals product detail the collection dot product price. It's as simple as that. I'll reiterate what I've said here. So what happens is I'm going to fetch the records from my add product form. I do it through my variable product details. It goes to the product form. It checks for all the records through this ID. And when it finds a particular ID which matches the product that I have put in the sub form, it puts it into this product details. Once the product details has that record, it simply pushes the product price of that particular record into the price of the subform. If it sounds muddy, then re-listen to it and try if you can figure it out. Else what I want is that the price should be automatically 0 if the product name field is null. Price equals 0, 0, and I hit save. Now my pricing is done. I'll add a new action, and this one will be for on user input of tax. So our deluge builder is once here. I'm going to use the if condition. So it also says what is an if statement: performs a set of tasks conditionally based on evaluating a Boolean expression. Okay, whatever. When we click on this advanced edit, you can see that there are current form fields. So this is very useful for people who have a fair idea of coding. And then we have our exclusive functions here, like add month, add week. I hit done. I don't need it. I'm happy with my builder. So if input.tax is not equal to null, that means the tax field has some data, and input.our variable purchase amount also has some data, then the tax will be calculated as, we are going to multiply the tax with the purchase amount and then divide it by 100. Basic maths. So input.tax amount would amount to input.purchase amount, input.tax, and then cleanly divided by 100. And then what about our shipping and handling charges? So input.shipping and handling charges would be equal to, now here I'm going to use a very interesting formula called if null. What if null does is my input.shipping and handling charges is null. So if I don't input anything in my shipping and handling charges, so it will return the value 0 to my original form data. But if I put something into it, then it will put that data into this. And now I will calculate the total amount, which would be an addition of these two plus the purchase amount. So input.tax amount plus input.shipping and handling charges plus input.purchase amount. And all of this gives me the total amount. So I've done the basic maths calculation here. I saved the deluge script. And next I'm going to go to quantity. Now again add a new action on user input of quantity. So what happens when I input quantity? This time I'm going to check if the price is also not null, the quantity is not null, and then I'm going to update the subtotal by multiplying it with the price and quantity. So this one would happen with my row.price is not equal to null. My input dot, not input, row dot, because we are handling subforms. If it's not a subform, we'd use input dot. If my row dot quantity is also not null, then I will use a temporary variable called temp. It's 0, 0. So first temp is 0, and now I'm going to use for each. So I have this for each record here. This is a task that I'm going to use here. So for each, let's have a variable called. So for each rec in the subform list items, so this one will go to each and every record that I have in my subform, and then it's going to calculate the subtotal with this rec.subtotal. Rec.subtotal equals rec.price into rec.quantity. Basic maths again. And this, it's going to feed into this subtotal. And what happens to my temp? So my temp is initially 0. Now temp equals rec.subtotal plus. So this loop runs for each and every subform record. So my temp is 0, it gets updated with the subtotal, and if I have a second line in the subform, again it gets added with the subtotal. So this is how the loop progresses, and then I will have my purchase amount as temp. Now that should take care of my subform calculations. And the last action would be for what happens when we delete a row in our subform. So when I delete a row in the subform, essentially the calculation should revert back. This we will do with our deluge script. Subform on delete row. So when a new row is deleted in a subform, what happens? Select the subform list items, and here if my row.subtotal is not equal to null. So if there is a subtotal amount in my subform, then I'm going to change the purchased amount. So input dot purchase amount now equals input dot purchase amount sans the row dot subtitle. So what this does is, if there is an amount in the subtitle and I have deleted it, then I'm gonna subtract that amount from my total purchase amount. Hit save. And I think I'm done with all the workflows that would make my purchase order perfect. So now we will go and access my application to check out my purchase order form. Let's create our first purchase order. So my distributor goes to this purchase order form. He selects a supplier I have, some invoice number. He can upload an invoice copy as well. Selects the purchase date, selects the warehouse, and then we come to the subform. Now here I select my crayons. I put the quantity as 5. So when there are no quantity, the price is 100. If I have 5 quantity, so the price changes to 500. I have my purchase amount is 500. Let's say the shipping and handling charge is 12. The tax is 14. So now my tax amount and my total amount gets calculated. So my workflow is working perfectly. I hit submit, and in my all purchase orders, I can see my first purchase order with all its details. So now we will move on to the fourth feature, where we will update the product stock. Now that we have a particular quantity here, I have my crayons. So I want to update this stock in my product list. Let's do that. What happens when a purchase has been made? We need to update the stock details in our app, and this will be done with workflows in Creator. Now I'm going to create a new form where I will maintain the stock details. Let's do it quickly. I'll name it as add stock. So for my stock details, I would want to use the lookup to know where the warehouse is. So look up the warehouse name. Next, I want to look up which product are we talking about. So add the product name. Next up, I want to know the available quantity for this particular product. So we use the number field. Hit done. And now I'm going to have a workflow which will work every time a purchase order is created. So I'm going to update the stock details in my stock form. So have a new workflow while using the form. Purchase order, name the workflow as update stock. Add a new action. And this workflow will be triggered on successful form submit of purchase order. So we go to our deluge script on success. And here we are going to run this code on 2 categories. So if the product is not available at all in the warehouse, what will happen? We will add it for the first time in that form. And if the product is already available, we are going to update it. So we will use our if condition here. If our warehouse code in the purchase form is not null. So there should be a warehouse. If input.select the warehouse is not equals null, so this will check whether warehouse is available. Then what happens? So for each record, let's say the variable is each row. So for each row in our subform list items, we are going to run a code if the product is not available at all in the warehouse. So I'll write it in the comments so that it becomes clear what we are going to do with the code. So if the product is not available at all in the warehouse, then we add it to the form the first time. And the form in question is our add stock form. This will be done with our fetch record forms. So we use this fetch record field here. Let's say the variable name is get stock details. So get stock details goes to my add stock form, and there it pushes the product as the product name that we input in our subform, and the warehouse as the warehouse code that we push in our lookup. Let's see how that is done. So the product equals each row dot product name. So this product name is being fetched from the subform, whereas the warehouse is being fetch from select the warehouse. So once we know the product we are talking about and the warehouse, now the next field that we want is the stock details. If you remember, in our add stock form we have only 3 fields. We have our product, we have our warehouse, and we have our stock. So how do we know if the stock details is not 0? We are going to use if get stock details dot count equals 0. So that means that this product is not available at the warehouse and we are adding it for the first time. And in such a case, we are going to add it. So what this variable does is it inserts into our add stock form. So the added user is Zoho login user ID, and now we can add the data into our add stock form. So let's keep adding it. So we have 3 fields here. So the product equals each row dot product name. Next up is our warehouse. Warehouse equals input dot select the warehouse. Remember that we use input dot warehouse for the fields which are in the form, but each row we use for the fields that are inside the subform. So that is the difference between each row, and the available quantity will be updated with each row dot quantity. Now what happens if the product is already available? Then we simply update it. I hope you're getting the flow here. If the product is already available in our add stock form and a new purchase order is created, then we simply update the details in the stock form. In case it's the first time that a product is being purchased and a purchase order form is created, then we push the details as a first time entry into our add stock form. I hope it's clear to you. Now we use else. We simply update it with get stock details available quantity equals get stock details dot available quantity plus each row dot quantity. I hope this line is very clear. Once we have a new quantity in a purchase form, we simply go on and add it into the available quantity in the stock form. That's it. It's very simple if you practice and pay attention a bit. And I hit save and it got saved, updated. And so our product stock updating is done. We'll check it out in our live mode. So let's go to our access this application and check how it looks like. So this is our stock form. You see this add stock. So I'm not going to use it. Neither the admin is going to use it. We are going to keep this form dormant, or rather you could even hide it. What we need is this all stocks report where there is no data as of now. So what happens when there is no data and we create a purchase order? Let's do it and check out what we did in the workflow. So I select the supplier. Random numbers everywhere. Add a new, so my product name is crayons. Let's say I have initial 10 quantity and hit submit. So in my purchase orders, a new one gets created, and in my stocks, this time when I check out my all stocks, you see that because there was no data before, it got pushed out here. So the warehouse, in my New York main warehouse, I have lumber crayons in available quantity 10. Now what happens when I go on to create another purchase order? The same way. This time, let's say I'm creating only another 30. Hit submit. And this time when I go and check my all stocks, you see that the number has changed to 40. So 10 plus 30 is 40. So our update product stock is working very beautifully. And now I'll move on to generate reports. In the 5th step, I'm going to show you how we can build reports with Pages and Creator, and this will be the main dashboard of the app. Now that we are done with our purchase orders and the stock details, we are going to create a new report where it would be easy to check out our stock details. So go to the plus sign over here, create a new report. Which type of report would you like to make? I want to make a pivot chart report based on the form add stock. I'll name the report as product stock report rather, and create the report. Right here it asks me what do I want in my x-axis, my y-axis, so I will fill it. And here we have an in-depth account of how to create a chart. We need to select the fields for the chart, apply the functions, filter the data, and have filters. So in my x-axis I want my warehouse, and in my y-axis I want my product. So it's as easy as that. What kind of values you want, whether you want count or actual values. In my warehouse, I want my actual values, and in the product, I want, let's say, the count. So show data is normal percentage. I'd show normal, let's say. And here, click here to generate the graph. So it shows me that I have my New York main warehouse. Next, I can also experiment with my available quantity. So let's say that I want my available quantity to be visible in the y-axis. And here, instead of product count, I can have actual values. Click here to generate the graph. And this time you see that my lumber crayons have a quantity of 40. And this is visible right here. If I click on it, it takes me to the Excel kind of view, where I can see the warehouse, the product, and the available quantity for it. You have a lot of other options, like you have pie chart, line chart, bar chart, all sorts of charted. You can add extra columns over here. So there's a host of customizing that you can do with your reports. It's the way you want it that you can see it. So our distributors can check all the products, all the warehouses, even the suppliers with this report view. So I hit done and let's access our application to see how our report looks like. So this is our product stock report. I regenerated it here and this is how it will look. So when you have more products, you can see all of them and the quantity and also the warehouses over here. So we are done with our fifth feature. Now that we have built the app, let's have a quick demo to see how it works. Let's have a quick recap of our app. So the first thing that we do is we go and add our suppliers. Let's add a new supplier. Let's name it as Delhi Brokers. I put my friend Akshay's email. Let the supplier code be some random number and add. Next, we will add a warehouse. Since we have our supplier, we need our distributor to also have warehouses where they can stock up their products. Let the warehouse name be Chennai Beach Warehouse. Warehouse code can be W803. The warehouse email could be my email. And hit add. So now when you go to our all suppliers, you can see that Delhi Brokers have been added as a new supplier. We have a new warehouse in the name of Chennai Beach Warehouse. So this is where we set up the system. Once we have our suppliers and warehouses in place, we can add new products to our add product form. Let's name our product as ice cream. The category would be other. It's food. The product price is 12. The threshold value is 10. The product image is something and add it. When you now go to the all products, you see that ice cream has been added with a very beautiful picture over here, which is not ice cream. And now when we go to product catalog, you see that we have an extra others where we have ice cream and the code is 342. So our product catalog Kanban looks good. As you enter more data, it would look more comprehensive and awe-inspiring. Once we have our products, suppliers and warehouses, what happens is we buy these products and for that we create a purchase order. Select the supplier Delhi Brokers number, add some file, put the product date, select the warehouses Chennai Beach Warehouse and add new. This time I'm going to add ice cream. Favorite thing, have a quantity of 10, put some handling charges, put some tax. It calculates the total amount for you and you hit submit. In your purchase orders, you will now find that from Delhi Brokers, we bought ice cream and this was the entire amount and we have the invoice copy as well. Now we can go and check our stock in our product stock report. When we regenerate the report, we find that we have lumber crayons here in our New York main warehouse. Where are our other warehouses? Let's refresh and check them. Yes. We also have ice cream. So in our Chennai Beach warehouse, we have a total quantity of 10 for our ice cream. And here we have lumber crayons in 40. You can change the chart type right over here. You can have your line charts. So you can see, you can do all sort of things with this report. Let's have step. You can sort it, you can split the axis, you can do anything with our stock report. So this is the entire layout of our distributor management. Remember our app deck in the creator homepage? We are going to go there and I'm going to install the distributor management app that the developers have built for us and let's see what extra features they have. Now that we are done with our demo, I'll take you back to our app deck where I will install the distributor management app and show you around. So we'll click on new application here. And this is our app deck. There should be the distributor management app right here. I installed this application and it's setting up. So the app is right here. And even at first glance, you can see that it is much more sophisticated than what we built today. This layout can be changed right from our edit option where there are editing options. So this one is called Marco Industries. We have a very clean dashboard where it shows that there are 0 warehouses, 0 contacts, accounts, suppliers. So we created the modules for the suppliers and warehouses, whereas they have extra contacts and accounts, and here right away they have the quantity. So today's sales, purchase, they have everything in place. So let's see what else is there. There are suppliers which we already have. They have added invoice features, vendor purchase, they have inventory which we did with our stock, they have warehouse, we also have warehouse, they have country map. And then they have this extra module of order management where they take new orders and they have this entire reports on pending, approved and delivered orders. Then there are this sales stuff. Let's click on the sales and check. You can return a product once you have bought it from this firm. And then you have your CRM where you can check out the account details. You have your ledger accounting where they do all the accounting stuff. And then the product module that we built. Let's go back to our dashboard. So what you realize now is that the small distributor management app that I did was nothing but a shadow of this great app. We created the app with a simple model of product, warehouse, and suppliers, the bare minimum. So I would urge that you install this app and check it out for yourself. Add a lot of data, customize it according to our needs, and get back to me if you have any doubts with it. We have reached the end, my friend, and if you have any doubts or comments, then shoot them below. Also, do not forget to subscribe to our channel because we keep posting app making videos every week. Till then, keep making apps and be happy.